Hey folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again. Patrick L., a subscriber, had asked a few questions, so I thought I would do a short Q&A video and answer some of those questions real time as opposed to typing them out in the reply section because they make it a little more long-winded. First question was your first impression on shooting the 416. So the easiest way to describe that is to probably show you a picture of some of the bruises from that very first outing. That first day out was, I think we shot a total of 30 rounds between a few of us. I think there were 3 of us. And I had my fair share, so depending on how I was actually shouldering the firearm, the rifle, it definitely left its mark. So in terms of first impressions, I'd have to break that down into two sides. Seeing the 416 and then wanting to eventually go down that path, as well as finally doing that and then shooting it. So to say it's intimidating is probably a little bit accurate. Not knowing what to expect, the kick in terms of did we get everything right from a scope bite point of view? How much was it going to push back on the bench? The bipod, whole bunch of things all at once. So I would say first impressions were kind of overwhelming, as well as at the same time quite satisfying, simply because again, we didn't know what to expect, and it was pretty cool to have something of this magnitude, caliber-wise, all come together and actually work, from the reloading components, picking up all of the pieces necessary to build the upper and the lower, put everything together, and again have it come together, because this is a big cartridge. It's the biggest cartridge round we've ever shot, and I would say that first impressions were pretty cool. How do I feel about the caliber? Again, if you look at what we shoot, anything from 22 long rifle all the way to this is a big boy. I mean, when you look at the fact that all of the primers are for 50 BMG, it's a very, very large round, which also translates kind of into Patrick's third question. Is it worth the extra efforts and costs that you described in some of your earlier videos? And when I first went down this path, as I do with anything, I'm going to look at cost-benefit analysis and see, can I do this? And years ago, when we were looking at a larger caliber, we were thinking about 338 Lapua, and decided against that simply because we would have to retool everything. New press, nothing would work. New powders, no reusable bullets, as we can with the 30 cal across a number of different, like 308, 300 Winchester. Just can't do that with something large. So when I was looking at my cost benefit, sure, you've got your sunk costs that you're not going to be able to recoup for quite a while, and that's on the harder stuff like the press, all the tools, the miscellaneous stuff to make this a little more enjoyable, and then obviously just the straight costs of the components. So when I was shopping around to find commercial 416, a box of Barrett, which comes in a box of 10, ranges anywhere from, and if you look at say AmmoSeek or some of the other aggregate boards, you can find 10 for roughly high 50s, low 60s, but where they get you is in shipping. Some of the other known, or I don't say other, maybe I don't want to say better because they've been taking a bad rap, but some of the online places are just ridiculous in what they charge for shipping. You can go out there right now and do a search on AmmoSeek and find something in the low 60s, and as soon as you go to checkout and you look at shipping prices, you're at $17-ish. So right there, that's $80 for 10. So there's $80 divided by 10, $8 a particular round. You go to Barrett. Barrett doesn't even have them in stock. Barrett is $73 plus shipping, so you're closer to the $90 range. So I averaged out my costs to be $8 to $9 per commercial on the high end, and $6 to $7 for commercial on the low end. Again, with the average price being in the low 60s plus shipping and handling, so you're roughly right at $7, and that's if you can find it. And paying $7 per shot that first day would have cost us $210 in ammunition that we burned through. So when I look at the components that I've picked up, my powder, US 869, you should pick up from Powder Valley. 190 grains divided by what I pay for powder when I buy in bulk is roughly 70 cents. The primers can vary widely. Again, Powder Valley is the cheapest I found at roughly 173. I've seen them as high as 230 plus. So you're looking at approximately 35 cents per primer. Brass is interesting because you go to Barrett, and again, you can go out there right now. They don't have any in stock. Their brass is seasonal depending on what they're doing with their rifles. So you may or may not be able to pick it up. They do also offer prime brass, which is obviously more expensive. So brass was challenging to find. Cheapest I was able to pick this up was $1.40 per cartridge, per casing. I've seen it in the 2+ range. Barrett's in the 2+ range. Trying to see how many firings I can get out of a single cartridge, single casing. So I'll call that $1.40. But then after that, it's essentially free. So every subsequent shot is dollar cost averaged lower. And then the bullet. The bullet I've been able to find anywhere from $2 all the way down to 45 cents, depending on where you're picking it up. If there's a sale, clearance, discontinuation run, whatever. But the cheapest I've found, a box of 50 was, I think, just under $24. So 45 cents. So if you add those costs up, my first reload is about $2.90, which is a lot cheaper than $7. And my second reload of this goes down to $1.50 because I'm not paying for the brass. So if you were to average that across a box of 10, roughly the first reload would cost about, meaning $2.90 for the first reload and then $1.50 for the subsequent 9, would cost me about $16.40, which is a heck of a lot better than $60 to $90 or an average of $70. So without question, the extra efforts and costs add up. So you figure you go through maybe a couple hundred rounds, you're looking at quite a bit of money. If you were to go commercial, that would pay for your press, all your tool sets, everything else, and your ongoing costs are going to be more your consumables. So I would say reloading is probably the only way to go to have fun with something in this large caliber form factor in order to enjoy it without worrying about the cost. So first impression, awesome, especially since it was home built. Caliber, very cool, and quite cost savings, quite efficient cost savings with reloading. So if there's any more Q&A, or rather any more Q, I'll try and answer them via an A video. And that kind of wraps it for now. So talk to you all later.